All right. We got Nord here. We appreciate you joining us. We're going to jump in the garbage can where we select all of our topics from, as we love to do. I got them in a little out of order here, but we'll start with the big one this week, of course, that UnitedHealthCare CEO. I wanted to get your like actual thoughts on it in the first place. And
Sure.
I feel like in life, you always, at least for me, like you understand that murder is wrong, right? It's like murder is wrong. Nobody endorses that. But to think that there's no context to this is all equally outstandingly dumb, right? So I wanted to get that out of the way first. Whether you agree or disagree, take it away, maybe even for a second. But it's, you know.
Yeah, well, obviously, murder is wrong. Probably a core tenet of any society for sure that murder is not legal. But seeing the response has been very interesting. Because nobody's endorsing this, but you're right. There is a lot of context to a healthcare CEO being gunned down in the street, especially when the bullet casings have...
Yep.
What, defend, depose, deny, or something to that effect. So, like, there's clearly a slant here. And regardless of who the CEO was, I think as a person, it's more of a bigger criticism. It's weird to... You get what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
There's an angst out there in the American public, and that is why there is seemingly no sympathy for this man.
Yeah, and it's not just angst. It's people have been denied and have passed away from decisions. I guess this man came up with their AI model that decides whether it's... Which is, I mean, we're using AI in healthcare to try to determine if people should be covered or not on things. It's just, you know, as always, we have to put disclaimers out here. It's like, I don't know how the AI is. I don't know how it was designed. But I know damn well that AI is not perfect at all. And to implement that as a way to decide if, not necessarily if people live or die, but decisions that can lead to that is out,
100%.
like, just out, like, come on, man. And it's not even the AI, like, it's just how awful healthcare is in this country. And, I think that's where you see comments on this video that you shared from good old Benny Boy Shappy Shap.
Hey, Ben Shapiro.
Where you might think you know what you'd see in the comments, but boy, does this have a unifying effect, like post 9/11. Let's just Jesus Christ.
You see, well, you know the audience that he's captured more or less, and I don't know if you want to read off the title of this. So he does a little piece on the whole situation.
The evil revolutionary left cheers murder. Go ahead.
There you go. A 50-minute video, of which I've watched none of, by the way, because I don't know that I really care about his position on this whole thing.
You got it.
I was fascinated by his comment section, which is full of people who are telling Ben Shapiro where he can shove it with this being just a leftist position of people, quote-unquote, cheering on murder.
You know what it makes me think of? I want to hear what you think. It makes me think of the fact that right now politics is the establishment versus. And it seems Democrats and... Or let's just keep it left and right. Establishment left and right figures like Andrew Yang and Ben Shapiro. They're all just like, you guys, this isn't the path you want to go down. You don't want to go down this path of free speech where you exercise your right to... It's just like, are you serious? Like... Did nobody take the pulse of the election we just had? I would argue Trump is establishment as well, but he codes as anti-establishment, right? So,
I agree.
I don't understand, like, I don't understand how they don't have have that like sight into that. I don't get it. This is your job to make videos on this stuff.
You're just completely disconnected from
disconnected.
And it makes you wonder too. Like, obviously these people aren't thought leaders, right? They shouldn't be. Nobody should be following a thought leader. You should be making your own opinions.
True.
But it makes me wonder if this is him trying to steer the discourse of the right.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it makes me think
and
that
just
too.
Paint the, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to control your side, quote unquote's response to it. But boy, did this just fall flat on its face.
100%.
It's crazy how much bipartisanship is in this Ben Shapiro comment section.
Yeah. And it's not. I feel like you must have read some of it at least, but I feel like it's not like lefties aren't watching his show, but
No.
that there's lefties out there that you've seen their reaction, and then you go in his comment section, and you're like, wow, this is very similar. It's very similar. I'll tell you what, like.
Yes.
Because again, like,
yeah.
Why is it similar? It's because this actually touches people. This isn't some bullshit where you can say trans people bad. They're not. Get lost, morons. But like this isn't like that, where it's like this is people living in families, going about their daily lives, seeing people get denied for healthcare and seeing catastrophic consequences. Period.
Everybody in the United States, unless you are overwhelmingly rich, has a story about healthcare being bullshit in this country. Correct. At some point, in some place, particularly with health insurance.
Yep.
So, and like again, I understand that for the people running the health insurance company, it is about stat sheets. It is about, what percentage of money we're trying to make. We're trying to legitimize or delegitimize claims, whatever. It's just numbers on a page. But people actually die because of these decisions all the time. And to be told that, like, listen, it's either, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt or just you have no chance at living past a few weeks from now. That's the choice that a lot of people are put in all the time. I mean, GoFundMe exists because of the healthcare system in this country.
I think it's got to be like 95% of the raises or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely. Yeah. Bernie Sanders busts out all the time. He says 500,000 Americans every single year. Now, I don't know if it's still at this rate. I wouldn't be surprised if it was worse. But he used to say all the time 500,000 Americans every year go bankrupt because of medical debt. That's insane. That should be unacceptable in any polite society. Makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, and what you said about you understand that people in that company are operating within a framework of society that they didn't choose to be in. That's why murder's bad, right? We'll get it out of the way again. Murder's bad. This guy was doing his job. But this is why the context matters as far as, like, we're not condemning people for, like, not cheering it, but, like, I'm not condemning anyone on this right now, because as much as like these people operate in a framework, you could choose another line of work. Like, you don't have to do what you're doing in so many ways. And I just think at the end of the day, if you continue to choose this line of work and you climb the ladder at an insurance company and you end up being the guy implementing AI, what do you want me to say, bro? What do you want me to say? Nothing to say.
Right, because these are people's lives. So
let's see if I can pull the video up. Let's see if I can't.
Well, folks, we have updates in this.
These are the splashes of the class war that Bernie Sanders tries to make the pivotal part of the conversation every single time he talks.
Yep.
Because to him, it is a class war. It's not a culture war.
Yep. And this is why you get cross Bernie Trump people. I don't think it's a lot, but this is why. Like, we've known this.
You would think, man.
People out here with blinders on. Where you at? I don't understand, man. So I'm in the comments right now. First comment: fact, both left and right are cheering. We don't care about your feelings. So true. We got conservatives and liberals hugging each other in a comment section before GTA 6. That's fascinating. That's actually fascinating. This comment section is humanity making sense for the first time in years. Yeah, it's just all the same stuff, man. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah, look at this one. It's not left or right. It's not black or white. It's rich versus poor. Your true colors are showing.
Exactly.
And again,
these are nail on the head comments. Yep.
Well, for sure. Especially when you consider I feel like we lose sight all the time of just how insanely wealthy this country is and how big our GDP is and how insanely skewed the proportion of the income brackets are. I mean, it's like it's insane.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
Nuts. The amount of money that is funneled into the smallest sliver of society is...
Something's got to change, man. And it's had to change, and it keeps getting worse. And I think this is where your frustration, and I definitely empathize with it. I get it, is with the Democratic Party. It's like you are literally not even good enough to you're making people vote for Trump. It's like, what are we doing here, man? You can't get it together enough to beat a fascist moron. What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm not going to say it's easy, but by God, Kamala Harris should have put her foot down, came out running, and said, Medicare for all, suck on my boo. You know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead, girl.
She also doesn't raise $1.5 billion if she does that, which is the unfortunate truth of her campaign.
I don't care. You're taking the L with the billions, or you got a chance without. To me.
Right. I agree. I know,
but you're right. You're right.
Bernie did it. Bernie just about did it. He came just short.
Yeah. And he got outvoted, which sucks. He straight up he just did. All right. And also Biden hanging over Kamala, not because inflation, yes. But not because Biden was a bad president. Miss me with that. There's been so many great bills passed, chips, infrastructure. Miss me with that. But it's because he hasn't been a great president. That's not what I'm saying. But he's not been a bad one. But it's because he lightly said when he ran for 2020, public option, maybe. Never did anything. Never heard those two words out of his mouth again in 4 years. Never did. And by the way, public option is still garbage. You need single payer healthcare. The way these things work, you need single payer healthcare. For anyone curious, I have an extension that lets me view dislikes. There are currently 6K likes to 28K dislikes. Great. Keep it up.
Wow.
Another devastating one. Don't say you're pro-life and then side with health insurance companies. It's right there. The flagrant hypocrisy is right there. And I think with this happening, and also with kind of some other things happening with the month since Trump's been elected, I feel like Trump is about to start out on a pretty bad foot. I'd like to hear from a bunch of Trump fans to kind of gauge what they think he could do about something like this. Because there's only one answer. Say it with me, Chad. Single payer healthcare. So like, is that what people who voted on the right voted for Trump and are cheering this? What's the answer? What are you hoping Trump does? What's that?
He has concepts of a plan. That's what he said.
It's just. Again, he's coded anti-establishment, and I think people bought into that without any sort of.
On the head.
Yeah.
And enough of those people stuck around to where inflation was enough of an issue, and it put Trump over the top. So
we'll see. So a really interesting.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
An idiot. A really interesting question to me is, again, how do these Trump fans feel right now after this? Who not support, but who are cheering this? Let's say, what are you hoping happens with Trump? Now, you're gonna get a bunch of them that would still be like, Trump will help. Trump will help. Promises made, promises kept. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah. But I just wish someone was doing that journalism work. I would love to read that or watch those videos. Look at this comment. According to Ben, I went from Trump voter to revolutionary leftist in the span of a month. Dude, that actually is a crazy comment. This just in, man with a $50 million net worth completely misses the point and is out of touch with the frustration of regular Americans. Shocking. Yeah, I guess to wrap up this topic, it's all about, for me and you who watch this stuff, consume this stuff, it's all about the inequality. And somehow Trump, I don't want to say coded better on the inequality question better than Kamala, but something about him makes people think that there's hope. And these same people will turn around and tell you insurance companies are scams and the inequality's bad. Which makes me want to pull my hair out, man. I will rip my pubes out the next person who says that.
So again, this is why conservatives work overtime to sell the culture war, because they know they lose the class war 10 times out of 10. And the fact that they've been able to leech off so many working class Americans who they're just going to do absolutely nothing for them is fascinating to me. But they did it, I think, largely through the culture war, largely through Trump coding as anti-establishment.
So do you think the culture war allowed that coding to happen? And they'll buy into the culture war thinking...
I think...
Yeah.
Well, I think covers up some of the. It gives you something to look at other than Donald Trump's actual record.
So do you think it makes them forget about the fact that they think insurance companies are a scam and inequality is bad? Or do you think that the culture war makes them also buy into the, hey, he'll do right on the economics too? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a mix. I do think the culture war a lot of the times is a smokescreen, though. Because if you look at what Trump really did during his first term, he did not deliver much for average Americans. Not through legislation.
Promises. You're right, dude.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing he did in his first term, when he had the supermajority the first 2 years, the biggest legislation they did was tax cuts. And the only people that had sunset provisions on their tax cuts were the people who were middle class and working class.
Right. Yep.
Those tax cuts went away. The rest of them stayed. So that should just tell you exactly what you need to know about their working class rhetoric. It's all for a show as a means to get into power. That's it. That's all they give a fuck about.
Yep.
And I think we're going to realize that within 12 months of Trump's administration. We are going. The working class is going to understand, especially those that voted for him, that he does not give two single fucks about you. He doesn't care.
I think that only happens if the Democrats can figure it out in some way. They don't have to be perfect. I'm not asking anyone to be perfect, but I only think they figure it out if the Democrats, if the opposition can understand how to communicate, and they don't.
I mean that in the sense, though, that it's going to be much more tangible in people's day-to-day lives than it was in the entirety of his first 4 years.
It's part of the reason why he didn't get reelected the first time. I agree.
Well, I'm saying they're going to do more this time. He's going to yank on those levers of power, and he's going to realize real quick what it actually does, and it's not going to be a good thing. I don't think,
Dude, it's
at least.
So
I mean, he could
dumb.
prove me wrong.
Elon Musk, like $2 trillion from the budget. Oh, and then
I know.
Medicare and Social Security pops up as part of the conversation. Those are fully funded by separate taxes. Nobody understands that. That's true. Now, Social Security, we keep hearing, oh, in 2010 it's going to run out. Well, now it's 2030, now it's 2040, but whatever. And that's fine. That can be true. But as of right now, when you look at your stub, Medicare and Social Security are separate taxes. They fully fund it. They don't add to the deficit. That is a fact. Google it. I swear to God. Nobody listens to this. Nobody ever will. We're just here to rant. But whatever. Google it. It's so dumb.
Yeah, but
what
if
are you
we
gonna
collect
cut?
those same taxes and we cut entitlements, then there we go. We get more money back.
But then, and I hope they do cut Social Security. Well, Mom would be in a whatever.
They're gonna try.
Look.
They're gonna
That's
try.
okay. That's fine. But this is where he's such a goddamn moron, Elon Musk. Go ahead and cut Social Security, but then tell people you still got to pay Social Security taxes. Are you serious? Are you kidding?
Everything stop right now, then.
Dude,
you
you are on a path to be the most vilified person ever. You might be feeling all good right now, and you go to Notre Dame, and you're with Trump every single day. I thought he was the CEO of 12 companies. Who cares? But, wait for it, baby. Do the things you're saying. Do them. Because $2 trillion without Social Security and Medicare is not possible. So, do it. Do it. You got no balls, bitch. Baby back, bitch. Do it. And this is where I've been thinking about accelerationism. I'm just like, do it. Now, it hurts my heart that people will be affected in a bad way.
Yeah,
that hurts my heart. It does. Sure. I'll be honest about it. Of course, I'll say that. But listen, we get what we vote for. We can sit here and empathize, and we should. But then after that, we say we get what we vote for and do it. Don't be a bitch. They're gonna be, by the way. They're not gonna cut Social Security.
So you are in support of nuking the filibuster.
I've always been in support of that, though, because the 60. I've always been in support of that. The 60 is so stupid. Elections should matter more than 60 senators in the Senate. Suck my balls. Yeah. That's so dumb. Yeah. Anyways,
I agree. I think the majority should govern how they want. Then we can all see what the real fallout is.
You got it. Because Trump takes advantage of a lot of the. And again, you say it might not happen the same way here. Fair. But he takes advantage the first term of a lot of the institutions just being there still. And it's just like
the rhinos. Yeah. Well, he blamed the rhinos. He blamed Democrats. He blamed everybody but himself for not getting shit done. So
they were calling John Tooney, that new Senate leader, a rhino, because they wanted whoever stole from Medicare from Florida, that absolute gargoyle-looking scumbag. They wanted him. Go ahead.
How does he still? Have you ever watched the deposition video of him when he's going through? Of Rick Scott, dude.
Oh no!
I think it's Rick Scott.
Oh, I don't want to see that, man. It's gonna hurt my heart to see that bullshit, bro. Pleading the fifth every other sentence. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, who's the Florida guy?
Rick Scott. You got it. Once you said the name, you reminded me. It's Rick Scott.
Yeah, here we go, Rick Scott.
He looks like a condom came to life as a human being. He's so stupid, bro. So dumb, man. It's ridiculous. Anyways, we should make fun of his appearance. Go ahead.
Let me send you this. If you're ever interested, it's boring, but it's also like just shows you what a piece of shit this guy is.
Sure, I'll watch it. I'll watch it tomorrow.
I mean, you don't have to watch the whole thing, but you can just see what a smarmy little. Oh, he's a snake, dude.
Sure, I believe that. Well, look, we'll see if this changes anything.
Oops.
With the mindset of where Americans should be electing and pushing their influence as far as voting to. I'm always skeptical that it hurts Trump, man. I'm always skeptical, but
yeah, but I think this time will be different. This time will be different.
It's been said a lot of times, but I hear you. I do think that this kind of reaction is unprecedented, so that is an argument very much in your favor. Very much in your favor. So,
we'll see. At some point, it has to move to a class conversation in this country because the wealth gap is just unacceptable.
You know what? Do you condemn murder reminds me of?
Do you condemn Hamas? Okay, but do you condemn Hamas?
It's like, okay, sure, I condemn Hamas. You stupid. Anyways, I condemn murder and Hamas. Now let's talk about the context. No, I don't want the context. All right.
Right. You're right. You just want gotcha answers, and you want to dunk, and you want to walk away without having a real conversation.
Exactly.
There is no context in my life.
Oh, that's a beautiful life you got. All right, let's just do this other one real quick.
Sure.
Just the idea that, like, everyone thinks free speech lives on the right. And what got me started on this is, like, you know, Matt Gaetz crashed and burned. What a shock. So then he picks this Pam Bondi girl, and she wants to arrest and even deport people. Again, I'm not debating if it can happen. She's a moron, and I don't think it's gonna. But she wants to arrest and deport Palestinian protesters. And so, like, where do we think this idea that free speech lives on the right comes from? I think it comes from, and we kind of talked about it in the first topic here, the smokescreen of the culture war. And in that smokescreen, somehow they get, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts at all? I'm at a loss. Like, they don't allow people to be who they want to be, identity-wise. Yes, by the way, out there, gender and identity are different. Fucking read a book. So they don't let people be who they want identity-wise. They don't want people protesting things they don't like. Why? Why do we think this way?
It is interesting, right? Because, like, obviously their argument would be, well, Hamas is a terrorist group. If you're here on a visa as a student and you're openly like, I support Hamas, then you shouldn't be allowed to.
Where's the due process there? I don't understand.
Well, so that is objectively not free speech then, because
Correct.
You can be a Nazi in this country and you can talk about being a Nazi all day and nobody's talking about throwing you in jail or removing you from the country, and I don't think that they should. So,
Yep.
It is weird. It's a weird.
So frustrating.
I don't know.
And I'm not going to
Do you
sit
think
here.
this is
Yep.
an empty threat? Do you think this is just rhetoric?
Because
You know what
Trump's
I mean?
first administration got absolutely nothing done, and because I need to hear a plan to really believe in something. Yes, I think it's empty. Because what's the plan? What's the plan? You're going to trot these people in front of judges who, sure, some of them were appointed by Trump, but a lot weren't. So what's the plan?
Yeah.
And they're going to toss these? It's like, I don't. And then the first one that gets tossed, you're going to try to petition it to the Supreme Court? Like, what are you doing? Like, really? It just makes no sense. Everyone knows that Trump wanted to shoot Black Lives Matter protesters back in 2020. He's such a piece of crap. But again, the point isn't that he's a piece of crap. That is known by everyone. The point is, why do we feel like he's a free speech warrior? He's not.
Yeah.
The right is not. And I think I'm not saying that the left is also free speech warriors. Give me a break. Like, we can criticize where it's due. But the feeling on the internet of right wing is free speech is like so dumb. So dumb. Dude, Elon Musk is like the champion of, like, free speech. It's like, okay. And then you let, like, Nazis onto your platform to spread Nazi stuff. It's like, I guess we could even get into a debate about that, because I don't I think that he should be able to do that. And I think that ultimately it might be part of his company's downfall. But again, it just sucks that it feels like everyone's like, oh, the right, free speech. It's like, okay, sure.
That's right.
Sure.
That's right, baby.
Yeah,
it's
I am someone who loves Jesus, and that is my beliefs. And then someone else comes in and says, well, I was born one gender, but my identity is not that gender, so I changed. And they're like, how dare you? I'm allowed to be who I want to be. You're not allowed to be who you want to be. It's like, oh, great. I didn't know that's what we were fucking doing here. Now that I know, I'll go fuck myself in the corner and kill myself, because a lot of these people who aren't allowed to transition have mental issues. These are facts. Way higher suicide rate than a lot of communities. So, again, we've had this discussion so many times in the past. It reminds me that people make these arguments in ways where they try to code it so they don't seem like bigots, but they're bigots. That's what the fuck they are. They're bigots. There's no two ways about it. If you don't accept people for who they are, even if you don't agree with them, you're a fucking bigot. That's what you are. And it's just so frustrating, man.
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating.
I also don't really buy the whole leftists are censoring people thing. I think that's a
so
dumb talking point.
That's
because the only places that this is happening, quote unquote, is on social media, and that's not. I just don't buy that has to be the place where the public conversation is paramount.
No,
right? Like
so
these are
ugly
private
if it was.
companies. They're trying to sell ads. Like this is a business. I don't know. It's just weird. It feels like that's where the whole critique comes from. And then you could argue in academia, maybe there's people who are censored, which to me would be more problematic than fucking Facebook or Twitter. Like, who gives a shit? The online space is not the real world, and I feel like people. It sucks to me that we're conceding so much power to Twitter and Facebook as that being the place where we have our conversations. It shouldn't be anyway.
Yeah, and
So,
it matters
I don't know.
discussion.
I get sick of it.
It matters the topics you bring up. Meaning, like, I can have a private, respectful conversation with someone who doesn't like certain kinds of woke people. Okay, we can talk about that and how some of them are probably trash bags. And maybe some people have been affected by, like, leftist wokeism. But that is not a priority of a problem. You give air to what I think priorities should be. And that is such a, like, are you fucking kidding me? We've got people saying that certain protesters who tend to lean more left should be jailed for exercising their right to speech. And we're talking about people who canceled Aaron Rodgers even though he's making $40 million a year. Suck my balls. Like, what you choose to talk about matters. And if you're talking about that, you're bullshitting. It's another smokescreen. You're absolutely bullshitting. And it's so frustrating. I don't think I hear that a lot from, like, political commentators or people in the media, where it's like, you have to, if you're trying to do right by society and discussions and change and pushing forward, you have to choose what you're discussing about. Lower problems are lower problems. Higher problems are fucking higher problems. So, and look, nobody's getting jailed for protesting about Palestine yet. So that's in the same vein as, like, Aaron Rodgers being canceled, suck my fucking asshole. So that's fine. But if things come to pass like you feel like they might, then that might not be true.
They might.
Right. So
just saying, executive power is executive power. So it's going to be more than Trump that's been written, a sort of blank check here, I'm interested to see how that manifests.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's not just Trump that gets a blank check, is it? Or is it just Trump that gets a blank check?
Dude.
That ruling over the summer where they said...
Such a great question.
Was it just the president, or does that extend to people acting in his... Do you get what I mean?
Yep.
I'm curious how that manifests.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see.
And I just think that we're not the same, but we operate with the same mindset. Like, man, like, you gotta really contextualize the priorities that the air you're giving to certain things. Like, it just feels dumb. It just feels dumb. Who else is in the Hall of Fame and being canceled, but toss my salad, you weren't? It's like Aaron Rodgers. I always bring up Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers is a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, God, who else?
And it always exacerbates it when they are victims themselves. It's like, oh my, or they act like they're victims. It's like, oh my God. Wouldn't I love to be Aaron Rodgers as a victim? Like, are you serious, man?
Plenty of comedians who would claim they've been canceled and they're just fine.
I do think that there's a certain area to comedy that is going to offend people, and that tends to push a lot of comedians down a right-wing path, which we've actually seen in the internet age.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But again, George Carlin did it best. Focus on punching up. Don't lose focus on punching up. You can punch down for laughs in a private venue, this or that, amongst your friends. Like, I've done that. Like, there's context to everything that's fine. But when you're Dave Chappelle and you put out big Netflix specials and you're just punching down on trans people, it's kind of gross, bro. It's kind of gross. And you've got to focus on punching. It's a big club and you ain't in it. You ain't in it. You got to punch up.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think that pro-working class illusion is going to fade within the first 2 years of Trump's presidency. So we'll see what the response to that is. That's the thing that upsets me, is I'm just unbelievably upset at the Democrats for losing in 16 and losing in 24, because both of those elections were extremely winnable, and they managed to just cock it all up. And they just are completely ignoring one of the biggest movements they've ever had in their base, and that is Bernie Sanders and the rhetoric that he brings, but they don't want to commit to that. I don't know if that's because they think that's not truly a winning strategy, or if they're truly that beholden to the people that pay for their elections. So I don't know.
Did you see that Twitter thread where AOC asked why people voted for her and Trump, and they were like, dude, you guys' code is anti-establishment. That's what it is.
Right.
That's what it is. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And people, I don't think people are as, I think I'm learning with Trump, I don't think people are as anti-government as I thought in this country. It's just anti-establishment, and government gets lumped in with that. And you have to communicate in a way where it breaks through from that. You have to. I look forward to AOC's future career if things don't burn straight to the ground. And there's other.
We'll see if Democrats run a woman again for a little bit. It might be a bit, because you're 0 for 2 now, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's fine. I just think that I'm not going to say Kamala would have won, but if she hits the ground running on Medicare for all, eat my shit. And again, your point is taken that money would have been less. That's fine. That's fine. And money does matter. It does. But when you're going to take the money anyways and lose, what are we doing here? You got to hit that ground running, and you got to say Medicare for all. I do not care. I do not care. We are single payer healthcare. Eat it. Eat it. So I don't even know if that gets her to win. All the complexities that go into 150 million people voting for something, it's tough, but you got to at least try. So I'm with you that who knows if they'll run another woman, but I'm fine if they do, as long as they hit the ground running and say, hey, we're here to give healthcare to everyone, period. End of story.
Right.
And you got to be the party that's like, we're paying for it with an extra tax. Yes, we have a deficit. People can bullshit about the deficit when I say Medicare for all, but no. People are going to go from paying health insurance companies to just paying the government less and get more, because that's proven with every other country that's single payer. You know, and I know, because Bernie says it 100 million times, we pay more than other countries and get less. And to me, that's because of that.
Facts.
So you just got to hammer away. And then when they bring up deficit, you say, it doesn't matter the deficit. Nope, I'm going to don't worry about that. I'll cut the military, bitch. Oh, you watch me. You feel me? I would cut that shit right in half. Right in half. And be like, you better start passing audits, or I'm just going to slash more and more every year. You dumbasses.
Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah. What are you going to say to me? Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
People, how are we gonna, lead the world? I'm fine with leading the world.
Soldiers gonna. Sorry.
Well, that was a good comment. But I'm fine with leading the world in a way where we're doing what's best for our people and we're showing that to the rest of the world. I'm not okay with spending a bunch on military and chucking bases everywhere. There's different ways to lead.
Sure. Also not okay with just like
go ahead.
The rolling blank checks that get given to industries. Because, we spend a lot of money, but, man, how efficient is our money being spent? You really got to ask yourself.
You got to audit it all. Oh, see, and this is where if we ran for something, people would be like, oh, you code right-wing in some ways. It's like, I don't care what you're labeling it. We got to figure this shit out. Doge in theory is okay. Obviously, it's being run by morons, in my opinion. But in theory, it's fine.
Sure.
It's great.
Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Could you figure out a way to get a lot of federal employees off the payroll who just kind of run paperwork by a big investment into improving stuff and automating stuff. And then that same investment also sets aside money to train these people to find other jobs. We're not abandoning anyone, but we're changing and we're moving forward, helping the people. It just feels too easy. But whatever, man. It's not. I know it's not. But it feels too easy for me. Also, I was going to say, I wonder what you think of this, and we can wrap up soon. I don't mind giving weapons to a place like Ukraine. You serious? Of course. I don't want boots on the ground. But I have no problem supporting Ukraine. Of course not. Russia's awful, terrible, and it sets a dangerous precedent. Of course it does, to let them take sovereign territory. So things like that can also be a way to lead. Fine. That's fine. But this shit where you have 800 bases everywhere and people are just there, no. We ain't about it.
Yeah.
So what do you think? How do you feel about Ukrainian support? Real quick.
Oh, I'm totally fine with Ukrainian support.
Yeah.
I mean, people.
We gave them $100 billion. We gave them $100 billion of weapons, you morons. Of weapons.
Right. Of weapons that have been sitting around that we overproduce anyways because we pay too much for our military. But
look at that context.
Look at your beautiful context.
Yeah, you're right. It's true, man.
It's funny that you could paint. Like, I understand, the NATO argument of that, but, like, how anyone can fully justify Russia just going in there wanting to take Ukraine as a whole is, I don't know how you can justify that.
What's the justification to the NATO one? I also have one, but you go first.
NATO's been encroaching for years, and Russia's been warning them that, what was it? Some country joining was a red line, yada, yada.
Yep.
This is incitement from NATO in the West, so they had to take Ukraine. But I also love that Russia they also throw in the Nazis in Eastern Ukraine or some mercenary group or something.
There was some small faction of Nazis, but again, this is where you can expose the smokescreen, at least to people who might know context. It was so few of them, and you're gonna, it's just like.
Right,
was Nazi ideology exactly? You got it.
Right.
So stupid, man. Oh, bad people are everywhere. You tell me.
I am shocked.
Oh, it's like, no, I'm not. There's bad people. Like, you serious? One bad person in New York. Should we burn it all down? No, it's ridiculous. I feel like most of the conversation we had tonight is just the smokescreen and how it really can blind people, and it's hard. It's hard.
Indeed, it is.
I don't even think if Trump won, I wonder what our motivation would be to bullshit, like this, which I enjoy, of course, but it's like, sorry, if Kamala won, sorry.
Right.
Just feels like Jesus, man, like. But also in the opposite vein, which you kind of, I don't want to say educated me on, but opened my eyes to a little bit. I did get blinded by not hatred for Trump, but opposition to who Trump is as a con man, and I got blinded by that into supporting Kamala. I think to the point where I was thinking it would be better. She would be a better Democrat. I don't think that's true at all. I think post-election clarity, post-nut clarity, I don't think that's true at all. So
don't call. Yeah.
We're unserious people.
Yeah, I feel like she probably would have towed the line. Which again, like, status quo is better than Trump, I think. But at this point, we get what we get, so we gotta just deal
gun
with
to
it.
my head, I agree with you. But again, post-election clarity, I just don't know, man. Because So I guess it's this.
Like
I guess it's
gonna
this way. I guess it's
Democrats.
Hopefully the hurt that we might feel for the next 4 years turns into making lives better for everyone in the future. If it doesn't, then I would look. If somehow J.D. Vance wins in 28, I might start to think, okay, now with all this clarity way after the fact, maybe Kamala, it would have been better. Do you get where I'm going here? Because, like, if it just keeps going worse and worse, it's like, and people die more and more, and it's just bad, man. Yeah. Reminds me of reading Late Stage Capitalism up to the election. These people hated Kamala to the point where, like, I feel like they wanted Trump to win. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's kind of how the pro-Palestine people felt. They were like, well, fuck it. I'm like, really? I mean, objectively, one is way better than the other for your particular niche cause, but okay.
I know. And they would tell
sure.
you, well, it's not perfect. And I would say, look around, motherfucker. What's perfect? What's perfect? Like, what? Makes no sense. Make it make sense, and then I'll talk to you. But yeah.
There you go.
People get frustrated with when you say incremental progress. They're like, ugh. Okay, go to the woods and enjoy your utopia. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Like, it's the same thing with libertarians. Taxes are theft. Go to the woods, and nobody wants to see you ever again. Do it.
Right.
Don't be a bitch.
Roads.
Be about it.
Don't call the fire department.
Don't be a bitch. Be about it.
Don't use my water sanitation system. No, sir. That's a collective effort.
Nope. I'll deliver you water. It might be shit water from my toilet, but hey, I'll give it to you.
There you go.
You got it.
There you go. A
And
little
they'll
upper
get what
deck
they,
action.
They'll get what they
You know what the upper deck is? Are you familiar?
A significant person in my life did not know what that was at one point, which is hilarious. He's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, you don't know? I don't. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." Yeah.
Well, you gotta pull it. Just pull that move at one point, and then she'll learn. She'll know. She'll go, "Why does it stink in the upstairs bathroom for like a week straight?"
What's this doing in here? It's like, remember I told you that term that you didn't know? I'm
Teaching you.
yeah. Anyway,
This is learning through experience.
as always, I think as we wrap up here, there's a lot of agreement, which is fine. I mean, I don't think this is for debate anyways. This is to bullshit and have a little fun. So, but yeah, there's mostly agreement, which for these topics I think is pretty typical. And yeah, we'll just have to see the way the next 4 years go. I think there's a little disagreement on what might happen. I think I almost hope what you say is true with the accelerationism. I just don't know if I believe it because I don't hear any concrete plans ever. And it's just,
Well, we'll see. The response to a Trump second term is going to dictate a lot, I think, for this country.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see. Will
it open people's eyes to the idea that we believe, which is he's not going to help the inequality at all. Period. Stop. So
I agree. Yep.
Yeah.
That one's a pretty easy one.
Yeah, we'll see. People keep getting caught up in like so tired. Like the Democrats. The last thing I'll say is like the Democrats should be a Big Tent party insofar as the litmus test is economics. The rest of it, I don't care. You could be pro-life, but as long as you're economically, let's fight inequality, welcome to the tent. I don't give a shit.
Right.
You could hate trans people. I think you're gross and a bigot. But if you're on board with the economics, get in here. Because at the end of the day, free speech is free speech. I'm an adult, not a 5-year-old child. I can disagree with someone. But if the most prioritized thing that will help society we're in agreement on, welcome to the tent. Come on in. I don't care.
Sure.
I don't care.
That's what it's going to take. That is what it's going to take, is just a class, people reframing it as a class issue, not a culture issue.
I think I heard Kyle Kalinske say that like a week ago.
Sure. I've
a
been saying it
similar
since
way, I
2016. It's the whole reason Bernie had any shot.
But yeah, again,
You know?
we both have been saying something to the effect, if not exactly that from you, sure, since, forever.
Well, I mean, to me, that was the Bernie
Bernie movement, yeah. So if you were a Bernie bro, which was kind of a slanderous term in itself, well, I don't care, whatever, free speech.
We love it.
But if you were a Bernie bro, then like, yeah, you got it. Goddamn, I wish con men didn't code as anti-establishment changers, but here we are.
I mean, I guess you can take. Well, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
So, anyways,
the problem's twofold because it's obviously it's reframing it as a class thing, but also reaffirming or trying to build back up the faith in institutions. So it is a little double pronged there because that kind of goes hands in hand. Because there's no faith. I mean, when it's there's no faith that the government can do anything right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to elect people who are looking to expand the government.
So dumb,
if
because the
that's
government's
sort
been
of
paying
the
Social
position.
Security forever and all, but whatever.
Yeah. Anyways. Yeah.
If the next 12 months even plays out the way Nord thinks, then everybody go out and buy those Jim Baker buckets where you can like eat forever, but then you can shit in the bucket after. It's like a twofold. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Dig your bunker in your backyard. I have like 1 inch
spent.
backyard. It's gonna be real tricky, but like I'll be out there. You see me? You need help? Let me know.
Well, push comes to shove, we'll liquidate everything, and everyone in the family will buy a compound, and we'll just go homestead.
There you
what
go.
We're gonna do. So
There you go, and I'll bring my buckets. that are real convenient. And also, they're real convenient because when you eat that food, it makes you want to take a fucking shit, bro. You know, I don't know what the hell's in that, but it's the Jim Baker Show, and come shit. All right. That's enough this week. Appreciate you.
Incredible.